The soap opera may not be over yet, Vikings fans. Even with McCarthy on the roster and a schedule in place, the most controversial name in the market continues to linger in the news. There are insiders betting that the script hasn't reached its final chapter yet. Comment below, leave a like, and subscribe, because the door, it seems, is still slightly ajar. The Minnesota Vikings are starting their preparation for the 2025 season with a focus on developing J.J. McCarthy, the rookie quarterback chosen to be the franchise's future. The calendar is already set, with mini camps, OTAs, and mandatory training sessions until June. But off the field, a veteran shadow remains present: Aaron Rodgers. Since March, rumors of a possible mutual interest between Rodgers and the Vikings have surfaced. Speculation cooled after McCarthy was drafted, but has resurfaced in recent days. The reason? Rodgers, for the first time in weeks, spoke publicly. And those familiar with the history of the number 8 jersey know, when he speaks, it's rarely by chance. Journalist Deanna Rossini, who has been following the unfolding of this potential connection from the beginning, reiterated that the outcome is still open. He said he is not waiting for the Vikings. "Oh, okay, let's see," she stated in an interview. For her, the talk of disconnection does not match the behind-the-scenes situation, and the lack of a firm statement from the Vikings front office, especially from Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, only fuels the uncertainty. The big question here is not just technical, it's strategic. Signing Rodgers after the draft does not cost a compensatory pick in 2026. In other words, if Minnesota still has any doubts about McCarthy's recovery, who underwent meniscus surgery, this window between the draft and the June practices could be decisive. Rodgers is not just any name. He brings experience, locker room control, and an immediate impact on the field. Even if he comes with an expiration date and a recent history of injuries, the short-term potential exists. On the other hand, the bet on McCarthy needs to be respected. Adding Rodgers to the roster completely changes the internal dynamics and requires immediate answers, both tactically and in group management. Is Kevin O'Connell willing to open that door? Or does the team prefer to risk making mistakes with its own project rather than giving in to the temptation of a risky shortcut? The fact is that Rodgers is still available. And with the draft approaching, every movement, or silence, begins to carry weight. If the coaching staff feels that McCarthy needs more time, or if the initial practices generate uncertainty, Rodgers' name will come back into play with force. Because after all, the Vikings' competitive window with their defense and talents like Jefferson and Addison won't wait forever. Would you accept Aaron Rodgers in Minnesota for a year? Or do you believe the franchise should stick with McCarthy and look to the future? Comment below, leave a like, and subscribe, because this discussion is far from over.